Magnitude 9+ earthquakes are among the most powerful and devastating natural events on Earth. Their occurrence is rare but catastrophic, capable of releasing more energy in minutes than entire nations consume in a year. Historical examples such as the 2004 Sumatra-Andaman earthquake, the 2011 Tohoku earthquake in Japan, and the 1960 Valdivia earthquake in Chile have illustrated both the immense physical destruction and the long-term social and economic impact such events can cause. Alarmingly, many of the geophysical and tectonic indicators that preceded these giant quakes are observable today in several key subduction zones around the world. These conditions include stress accumulation along megathrust faults, slow slip events, seismic silence, and changes in topography or hydrology. While predicting the exact timing of a magnitude 9+ earthquake remains beyond the reach of current science, the identical or highly similar preconditions now evident in regions like the Cascadia subduction zone, the Nankai Trough, and the Sunda Megathrust warrant close attention. M9+ earthquakes are typically caused by megathrust faults, massive boundaries where one tectonic plate is forced beneath another. These zones are capable of generating immense amounts of stress over decades or centuries. As plates grind against each other, strain builds up. When it is finally released, the rupture can propagate over hundreds of kilometers. Today, GPS and satellite-based INSAR, interferometric synthetic aperture radar measurements, show that strain is accumulating along many major subduction zones. For example, Cascadia subduction zone in the Pacific Northwest of the US and Canada. The Juan de Fuca plate is locked against the North American plate. Current models indicate a lack of seismic release for over 300 years since the last M9 event in 1700, suggesting a substantial amount of stress has built up. Nankai Trough in Japan. Historically, this zone has produced M8, M9 earthquakes every 90 to 150 years. The last major event occurred in 1946. Multiple segments of the fault are believed to be locked and primed for rupture. Sunda Megathrust in Indonesia. Having produced the 2004 M9 earthquake, this fault remains highly active, and further segments southward remain capable of producing similar magnitude quakes. An important prelude to many massive earthquakes is an extended period of seismic silence, or a notable decrease in smaller, frequent earthquakes. These quiet periods may indicate a locked fault, one where stress is not being released via small tremors, but instead accumulating toward a massive break. In the Cascadia subduction zone, for instance, there has been a long absence of moderate seismic activity across most of the fault line, which is considered a warning sign. A similar seismic gap was observed off the coast of northern Japan before the 2011 Tohoku quake. These seismic gaps, when paired with historical earthquake recurrence intervals and paleoseismic records, suggest that we may currently be in the final stages before a large rupture in several locations. Slow slip events, or SSEs, are a type of silent earthquake that can occur deep along subduction zones, releasing stress over days to weeks without producing noticeable shaking. These events can increase the stress at the locked interface of the fault and have been correlated with the timing of large earthquakes. Recent studies show increasing frequency and intensity of slow slip events in high-risk zones. Cascadia episodic tremor and slip events are now occurring roughly every 14 months in the southern section of the fault, and the movement of the overriding plate is showing consistent deformation. Nankai Trough. There has been a rise in SSEs in the Tokai and Kii Peninsula regions, areas previously linked to devastating earthquakes. New Zealand's Hikurangi subduction zone, SSEs have been closely monitored, with concern growing that they may precede a future megathrust event. While SSEs do not always precede large earthquakes, their presence adds another layer of concern when other risk factors align. Studying the recurrence intervals of magnitude 9+ quakes offers insight into future risk. For instance, the 1700 Cascadia earthquake was confirmed through Japanese tsunami records and coastal soil analysis. Paleoseismic evidence suggests that such events occur approximately every 300 to 600 years. Since we are over 320 years removed from the last event, Cascadia may be overdue. Similarly, the Nankai Trough has produced magnitude 8+ earthquakes in a pattern that suggests repeating cycles. The 1707, 1854 and 1946 events all fall within this range, and models predict another major rupture could be imminent. In Chile and Indonesia, the recurrence intervals vary more, but the spatial progression of past ruptures suggests that unbroken fault segments could now be nearing critical thresholds. In some regions, changes in natural systems precede large earthquakes. Groundwater levels, spring flow, and even radon gas emissions have been monitored as potential precursors. These anomalies often reflect deep crustal shifts and increased stress. Before the 2011 quake in Japan, groundwater levels dropped in some areas, and crustal bulging was detected via satellite. In Taiwan and China, variations in radon concentrations have been associated with regional tectonic strain. Currently, similar phenomena are being recorded in parts of Alaska, Chile, and Indonesia. While these indicators are not definitive, they contribute to a growing body of data pointing toward high seismic potential. Recent studies have linked climate change to increased seismicity through mechanisms like glacial isostatic adjustment. As glaciers melt, the weight on Earth's crust is reduced, allowing faults to slip more easily. For example, rapid glacial retreat in Alaska has coincided with increased earthquake frequency in the region. In Iceland and Greenland, seismic activity appears to rise during rapid melt periods. Given accelerating climate change, this may be adding additional stress to already precarious subduction zones, especially in polar and near-polar regions. Though no single factor guarantees that a magnitude 9+ earthquake will occur soon, the convergence of multiple indicators, seismic silence, locked faults, slow slip events, stress accumulation, recurrence history, and subtle geological changes, is cause for concern. Multiple regions around the world currently display the identical or highly analogous conditions to those observed before previous giant earthquakes. This does not mean panic is warranted, but preparedness is. The science points not to such quakes will happen, but the real question is whether humanity will be ready when the Earth once again moves with devastating force.